Have you ever seen one person stand up against a crowd for what they believe is right? This is the story of Elias, a young librarian who loves his job more than anything. But his quiet world is turned upside down when a woman named Cynthia starts a campaign to remove books from his library, accusing him of harming the town's children. The conflict comes to a head at a tense town meeting, where Elias must defend not just the books, but his very character in front of everyone he knows. What happens next is a powerful reminder that you can't always judge a book, or a person, by their cover. Before we continue with the story, we would love to know where you are watching from. Please let us know in the comments so we can bring more stories that resonate with you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss our upcoming stories. Now let's dive into the story. The town of Oak Creek was the kind of place where time seemed to slow down. Big oak trees lined the streets, neighbors waved to each other from their porches, and at the heart of the town square stood the Oak Creek Public Library. For Elias, the town's head librarian, this building was more than just a place of work. It was a sanctuary. Elias was a kind, quiet man in his late 20s. He believed that a library was a gym for the mind, a place where anyone, rich or poor, young or old, could come to explore new worlds and ideas. He knew the regulars by name and always had a book recommendation ready, his passion for stories shining in his eyes. But lately, a shadow had been cast over his peaceful world. It started with whispers, then moved to posts on the town's social media page. A group called Concerned Parents of Oak Creek had formed, and its leader was a woman named Cynthia. Cynthia was a newer resident of Oak Creek. She was well-dressed, confident, and very, very persuasive. She believed that certain books in the library's children's and teen sections were dangerous. She argued they contained ideas that were not appropriate for young minds, and that it was her duty, as a parent, to protect the town's innocence. Elias had tried to speak with her. He invited her to the library and calmly explained the process for selecting books. He talked about award-winning authors and the importance of showing different perspectives. But Cynthia wasn't interested in a discussion. She wanted action. She wanted the books removed. The tension in the town grew until it all led to this: a special town hall meeting. The room was packed. On one side sat Cynthia and her supporters, holding signs that read, "Protect our kids." On the other side sat Elias's supporters, teachers, parents, and teenagers who loved their library. In the middle were the undecided, their faces filled with worry. The mayor called the meeting to order, and soon it was Cynthia's turn to speak. She walked to the microphone with a folder full of papers, her expression firm. "Friends, neighbors," she began, her voice ringing through the hall. "I am here tonight as a mother, a concerned mother. I am here because our public library, a place funded by our tax dollars, is being used to push a dangerous agenda onto our children." She held up a list of books. "These books," she said, her voice dripping with disapproval, "are not harmless stories. They promote disrespect, confusion, and ideas that have no place in a town like ours. And when I brought this to our librarian's attention, what did he do? Nothing. He refused to protect our children." Her eyes then found Elias, who was sitting at a small table at the front. She pointed a finger at him. "He is not a librarian. He is an activist. He is more concerned with his own radical agenda than with the well-being of our kids. And I have to ask, what kind of person is so eager to push this material on innocent children? What is his real motive?" A wave of gasps and murmurs filled the room. The accusation hung in the air, ugly and sharp. Cynthia was not just attacking the books anymore. She was attacking Elias's character, calling him a groomer in front of the entire town. Elias felt his face flush with heat. He felt hundreds of eyes on him, some angry, some confused. He took a deep breath and walked to the microphone after Cynthia sat down. His hands were trembling slightly. "Good evening," he started, his voice a little shaky but clear. "My name is Elias, and I am the librarian here in Oak Creek. The library is, and always will be, a place for everyone. Its purpose is to provide access to information and to a wide range of stories. The books on Mrs. Vance's list are award-winning works of literature. They teach empathy, courage, and critical thinking." He looked out at the crowd, at the familiar faces. My job is not to tell your children what to think. My job is to provide them with the tools to think for themselves. To take away these books? To hide ideas? That is not protection. That is censorship. And it is a very dangerous path to start down. He finished and quietly returned to his seat. A small section of the room applauded, but many others just whispered amongst themselves. Cynthia smirked, feeling confident she had won. Just as the mayor was about to call for a vote, a voice came from the back of the room. "Mr. Mayor, may I have a word?" The entire room turned. Standing up slowly was Judge Miller. Judge Arthur Miller was a legend in Oak Creek. He was 90 years old, with a shock of white hair and a face full of kind wrinkles. He had served as the county judge for 40 years and was the most respected man in town. When he spoke, everyone listened. A hush fell over the room as he made his way slowly, with his wooden cane, to the front. He didn't stand at the microphone. Instead, he turned to face the crowd directly. "I came here tonight to listen," he said, his voice soft but carrying a lifetime of authority. "And I am deeply troubled by what I have heard. Not by the books, but by the accusations." He looked at Cynthia. "Mrs. Vance, you speak of protecting our children. It is a noble goal. But you are mistaken about where the real danger lies." He then turned his gaze to the whole room. "When I was a boy," he said, "my family had nothing. We were poor. My shoes had holes in them, and my dinner was often just bread and soup. I was a shy, scared little boy who felt like he had no future. But I had one place I could go where I was treated like a prince, and that was the Oak Creek Public Library." He paused, and the room was completely silent. "The librarian back then, Mrs. Gable, she never judged me for my worn-out clothes. She just put books in my hands. And one day, she gave me a book that changed my life." Judge Miller reached into his old leather briefcase and pulled out a well-worn book. The cover was faded, the pages soft from decades of reading. He held it up for everyone to see. "It was this book," he said. "It was one of the very books on Cynthia's list. This book," the judge continued, his voice thick with emotion, "taught me about justice. It taught me about empathy. It taught me what it means to walk in another person's shoes, even when it's uncomfortable. It taught me that courage isn't about being loud. It's about standing up for what is right, even when you're scared." He looked directly at Elias. "This book is the reason I became a lawyer. It's the reason I became a judge. It's the reason I dedicated my life to fairness and understanding. This book didn't harm me. It saved me." He then looked back at Cynthia, his eyes firm. "You call this man an activist. I call him a hero. You call him a danger. I call him a guardian of the most important institution in this town. He is continuing the legacy of Mrs. Gable, a legacy of kindness, of knowledge, and of trust." The judge turned back to the mayor. "And to show my support, I would like to make a donation to the library. $50,000. The room erupted in gasps. "This donation," the judge said loudly over the noise, "is to be used for whatever the library needs, and it is to be made in the name of our librarian, Elias, as a thank you for his courage and his integrity." A wave of applause started, and it grew until it was thunderous. It came from all corners of the room. People were on their feet, cheering for the judge, and for Elias. Cynthia just sat in her chair, her face pale, completely stunned and alone. Her supporters looked down, avoiding eye contact. In that moment, her campaign of anger and fear had been defeated by a simple story of kindness and a well-loved book. Elias looked at Judge Miller, his eyes filled with tears of gratitude. The old judge simply gave him a small, respectful nod. The library was safe. So that was the story of Elias and his fight to protect the heart of his town. It's a powerful reminder that libraries are more than just buildings with books. They are centers of community and windows to the world. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What does your local library mean to you? Has a book ever changed your life? And if this story resonates with you, please hit the subscribe button. It's completely free for you, but it helps our channel a lot. Thank you so much for watching. Have a beautiful day.